So I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes. It's just 7:30, so I'll give a few minutes for everybody to hop on, and then I'll start going over some stuff about meal prepping, which I'm so excited about. All right, so when I first started my journey, which if you don't know, I started my journey back in April of 2014. My daughter was born in March, and I wasn't allowed, I had a C-section, so I wasn't allowed to do anything major at all until almost May. Now, when I started, I was all over the place, and somebody had mentioned earlier to me today that there's just all this information out there. Like, what do we do? What do we look at? What do we use? And it can be overwhelming. And for me, when I started meal prepping and trying to figure out what I should eat and what I shouldn't eat, I was lost. Before I had kids, I was always really thin and I didn't really struggle with my weight. But as I, had kids and my body changed, and then I started realizing, like, wow, I actually need to pay attention to what I eat. And then, I started, having to budget and having to figure out what it was that I, could feed my family, but that it was also really good for all of us and fit into the meal plan that I wanted. And, like, there was just all of these factors. So today I want to make it simple. I want you guys to not get overwhelmed. A lot of people think, oh, if I'm going to eat healthy, then it's going to be all this preparation and I'm going to be cooking all these hours in the day. And I don't want you to do that. I rarely cook dinner. And that's not meaning that, like, I don't feed my family dinner. I obviously do. But I'm not sitting in the kitchen, after school when I pick my daughter up, just slaving away, cooking veggies and meats and doing all these things. I literally just heat it up because I've already prepared it. So I want to make it easy for you. I want to make it time saving. I want to make it so that you guys can be successful without all of these extra things happening all the time. Because when we feel overwhelmed and like our time is getting, less and less, we're going to give up. We're going to give in and we're going to, go for that quick thing. And I don't want you to go for the quick thing. I want your quick thing to already be ready for you and be in your refrigerator. So I'm going to start with, where I start at the beginning of my week. I haven't yet gone grocery shopping for my week. Normally I do that on a Friday or a Saturday morning. But I haven't gone yet. My kids are sick and things are just crazy. So I don't know, for me, this might not, you might not be able to do this, but for me, I'm really good with price matching. So my husband thinks I'm a dork, but I get every Thursday our newspaper and I pull out all of my flyers. So I have them all here to show you guys. So I literally go into my grocery store with all of these flyers and I have it all written out, what I'm going to buy. I plan out, roughly what my meals will be in my grocery list. And then I go through the flyers and I pick out, okay, well, apples are cheaper this week than pears are, or oranges are cheaper this week than apples are. And I pick what I'm going to buy based on what is on sale. I'm not going to go out of my way and spend $8 on a cauliflower because that's outrageous. And nobody should do that. So instead, when cauliflower was $8 and broccoli was really expensive and, the price of food has gone up. So when the price of food goes up, people start making, yuckier decisions. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice, all this progress that I had made, even though the prices made me kind of sick to my stomach. So instead, I went and I got the veggies, the fresh vegetables that were a reasonable price. And then I went over to the frozen section and I got frozen veggies. Frozen vegetables aren't bad for you. They aren't, something that you need to avoid. They're not something that, has less nutritional value. Most of them are actually flash frozen, so they don't lose anything. And for some people, it's just a taste thing. I'm more than willing to eat whatever's on sale. So yeah, I do up my grocery list, price match it all, get the prices as low as I can, and then I go and get my groceries, come home, and I spend my Sunday morning normally preparing all of my food. Some people like to prepare dishes. So if they're making like a lasagna or a chili or, a seasoned chicken or whatever, they like to do it that way and then container it all or prepare all kinds of, individual meals for the week. That is totally okay. You can meal prep whatever way that you feel will work best for your family. When you meal prep, your meat is good for about 5 days. So if you cook all your meat on a Sunday, you can have it till the Friday. That's what I do. I cook everything on the Sunday, have it through to my Friday. And that way, when I'm running around with the girls, when I'm doing all that kind of stuff, it's just grab and go. No thought, no anything. It's just there. And I don't really have the option to grab something that isn't healthy because the healthy thing is right in front of me. For me, I meal prep by making everything individual. So I steam all my veggies and I wash all my raw vegetables and I cut up all my fruit and wash all of that stuff. And then I container it based on steamed vegetables, my raw vegetables, and then all my fruits so that they're just ready to go. And then my meats, I just cook my meats. I season them like I want, but I don't make big dishes. That way I can kind of take the ingredients that are already prepared, and if I want to, on like a Wednesday night, I can take my chicken and I can take my veggies and I can throw them into a stir fry, and it's only going to take me 10 minutes compared to all of that time that it would have taken me because the meat had to cook. So it saves a ton of time, and it means that I can kind of mix and match if I'm really just not feeling it. One thing that is a go-to for me, actually two. One is chicken fajitas. I love making chicken fajitas, so I make them in my crock pot. I just throw all my veggies and my chicken in there, and I let it just cook. And then I also throw in a chili into my crock pot as well. That way, I always, I throw chili onto salads. I can throw it onto, my kids like it on sandwiches, kind of like a sloppy Joe. You can have it just as a chili. And then same thing with my chicken fajitas. You can throw them onto a salad. I eat them by themselves sometimes, or you can throw them into a wrap or a pita. So you can kind of change those things up and get a ton of different meals out of them. And they're quick because they're just, throw them into a crock pot and you don't have to really wait for it. It just cooks for however long you want it to cook for. But yeah, that is it's really important, I think, to figure out what works for your family. When I first started meal prepping, I did what I thought that I was supposed to do, like there were rules or something. And I kind of followed this guideline of, I needed to prep all my meals and then container them individually, and that I needed to make specific dishes and eat them that way. And that just didn't work. We wasted a ton of food because there would be so many days where we just didn't feel like eating that particular thing. And then that food goes to waste and you make something else and then you're spending more money, and that just wasn't okay with me. So instead, we found it easier to just prep as much as we could separately so that you can throw it in and mix things up. And then it's also good because my husband doesn't necessarily eat the same things that I do, so it makes it easier for him because he can just pick and choose what he wants out of the the meals that or the food that I've prepared, and doesn't necessarily have to eat a salad if he doesn't feel like it. Another thing that I think is really important with meal prepping and healthy eating and those kind of things is really to pay attention to not restricting yourself. When I am meal prepping, I do it based on what my goals are for the week. But I always give myself a little bit of a treat. I always sneak something in to make it so that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to eat all of these meals and I'm going to do all of these things, but I'm going to have this on Thursday night, or I'm going to have this on Friday, because then it's not like, oh, well, I just don't really want to eat this because I feel like I'm starving myself. And I don't want you guys to feel like that. I want you guys to enjoy it and turn it into a lifestyle. And that's, where you're going to be most successful, is if you don't think of it as a restrictive diet, but rather, just an easier way to get through whatever it is that you're doing. There are so many people that I talk to, so many challengers, so many potential challengers that say, like, I really wish that I could eat healthy, but like, I just don't have the time. It takes me maybe 2 hours on a Sunday morning to prep all my meals. If you really think about that, that's what it used to take me just to make dinner for one day. So here I am making all of this food, and then for the rest of my week, I just saved all that time. So you really make it so that you don't have any excuses. And, the time excuse is kind of irrelevant because you're not using any time. You're just able to grab and go as much as you need. What else is there for me to touch on? Let me think. Oh, in terms of meat, everybody always worries about the price of meat or the cost of, your protein sources. I always buy, for me, I don't really like certain types of meat, but when I'm buying whatever I'm buying, I only buy what's on sale. There's no like fancy thing. It's literally just whatever's on sale. For me, it used to be that I would buy chicken in bulk, and then I would just freeze it. Whenever ground turkey goes on sale, I buy a ton of it, because then I'm saving money later. I might be putting out a little bit of money now, but I end up saving it later because I'm not spending as much for the exact same amount. Same thing with chicken. I can get chicken for like 5 chicken breasts for like $10, which is pretty good compared to most other places. And they're like decent sized chicken breasts, so I can get about 1 to 2 portion sizes out of them. And that's another thing. Oh my goodness, good thing I stumbled across that. So when you are meal prepping, you're planning out and budgeting and doing all of those things, you really want to pay attention to your portion sizes, not only for your health, because we as a society eat way too much, but also just for your wallet's sake. So when you're eating, way more than your portion sizes are supposed to be, of course you're going to be spending more money because you're eating more than you're supposed to be. But when you actually dial in your nutrition and pay attention to eating, the right amount of veggies each day and the right amount of protein and the right amount of, your good carbohydrates, that's when you start to realize that like your grocery bill doesn't have to be so high. You actually can get through a week and not, spend an arm and a leg on healthy food. But the problem is most people are spending way too much money on even good food because they're spending money on bad food too. And when you meal prep, you kind of eliminate the need for the bad food or the desire for the bad food. And then you save money, which is really awesome. So yeah, I really hope that, this was a really quick check-in type video or call. to let you guys into my world when it comes to meal prepping. I keep things simple. I keep things, very dialed in, but it just lets me stay on track. I'm not, a very colorful person, I guess I could say, when it comes to my meals. They're very basic. They're a protein and a veggie, and I don't really season things, and I don't really do all kinds of crazy things. You don't have to be a gourmet chef to eat healthy. You don't have to be a gourmet chef to meal prep. All you have to do is decide that you want to do it, and then just spend a couple of hours one night and prepare all kinds of stuff. Do it for a week, and you'll see that when you really pay attention to what you're eating and how much you're eating, that you save money and you're feeling better because your body's getting what it needs nutritionally. So if there's anything else that I can help you guys with, or that you need, or maybe some tips on, saving money when you're, meal prepping, or different meals that you could use, just let me know. Anything that I can do, I'm here to help. And I'm so happy that you guys are taking the step to clean eating, to, bettering your life and reaching those, solid goals that you guys have inside of you, because that is where the fire is going to come from to get you guys through 2016 and accomplishing those goals. So I hope you guys have a great night. This call wasn't, going to be very long because there's not a ton to go over, but I hope you guys, take in everything that you can from our groups and ask a ton of questions. Really reach out and try to get the most out of, the information that is available to you, and ask as many questions as you need, because that's where you're going to learn the most, is by asking the questions that apply to you. I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll talk soon. Bye.